Hi guys, welcome to my story time. I got a couple of messages and it sounded like most friends wanted to continue Magic Treehouse number 8, Midnight on the Moon. So let's see what Jack and Annie are up to. We were just about to start chapter number 6. At the end of chapter number 5, they were looking from far away and they saw somebody in a spacesuit. And then the name of the next chapter is High Jump. Who is that? Said Jack. I don't know, said Annie, but we'll soon find out. She started waving. No, said Jack. He grabbed her arm. Let's go back to the base before he gets here. Why? Said Annie. We don't know who he is. We don't know if he's friendly or mean or what. But we can't go back, said Annie. We haven't found the fourth M thing yet. We won't be able to get home. It doesn't matter. We can lock the door at the moon base until he goes away, said Jack. Then we can get new air tanks. Jack hurried to the moon buggy. Oh, remember the moon buggy? They're driving in... Oh, my. Excuse me. In this little car here. Jack hurried to the moon buggy. Come on! He jumped into the driver's seat. Annie gave a little wave to the dot in the sky, the man floating over there. Then she climbed into the moon buggy too. The buggy took off. Careful, said Annie. They bumped over the rocks as Jack turned the buggy around. Then they zoomed toward the pass. Jack steered around craters and rocks. More than once the buggy nearly tipped over. Whoa, slow down, said Annie. They were almost at the mountain pass. Suddenly, that's my favorite writing word, suddenly a cloud of dust flew up in front of them. The ground trembled. Watch it, cried Annie. Jack couldn't see a thing. He stepped on the brake and the buggy jerked to a stop. The dust settled. A giant rock had fallen into the narrow path, so like skinny and small. It was stuck between two walls of rock. They were trapped. Jack quickly found a picture of a giant rock in the moon book. He read aloud. Rocks of all sizes crash into the moon from outer space. These rocks are called meteorites. We're lucky that meteorite didn't land on us, said Jack. Yeah, and I guess it's too big to be the M thing, said Annie. Oh, meteorite. She had climbed out of the moon buggy and was standing by the meteorite. It was more than twice as tall as she was, more than 2 Annies big. Jack looked at the black sky. The flying thing was nowhere in sight. Yet. We'll have to jump over it, said Annie. Jump? I don't think so. It's too high. Well, I'm going to try anyways. Wait, let me think first. But Annie was already backing up. 1, 2, 3, go! She shouted and took a giant leaping step towards the meteorite. When Annie got close to the rock, she pushed off the ground and flew through space. She disappeared on the other side of the meteorite. Annie! Jack called. There was no answer. Oh, brother, Jack said. He backed up and took off towards the rock. He jumped as high as he could, and then he was flying through space. Jack hit the ground and fell face down onto the dust. He tried to stand, but his suit was too bulky. It was like big and all over the place. He tried to roll over, but his suit made that impossible. Oh no, not again. "Are you here?" asked Annie. "Did you make it?" "Yes." Jack was relieved to hear her voice, but he couldn't turn his head to see her. He could only hear her over the radio. "Can you help me up?" he asked. "No," said Annie. "I fell down too." "Oh, brother," Jack sighed. "Now we are really in trouble." He tried to stand again and fell. "Can you see anything?" he asked. "Just the sky." "Wow, is it weird?" "I'm worried about our air tanks," said Jack. "I think it might have been 2 hours already." "Jack," said Annie. "And what about that moon man? Where did he go?" "Jack," whispered Annie. "What?" "He's here. The moon man is here." "What?" "He's standing above me." Chapter number 7 is called The Moon Man. Should we read just a little bit more? Okay. Jack's heart nearly stopped. He could hear Annie talking. "Hi," she said. "We come in peace." There was silence. Then Jack heard Annie say, "Thank you. I have to help my brother up now." A moment later, Annie rolled Jack onto his back. She grabbed his hand and pulled him up. "Thanks," said Jack, once he was standing. The moon man was just a few feet away. His face was hidden by a metal visor. Like that. He looked like a spaceman, a huge spaceman, with a giant tank on his back. It was huge, like a refrigerator. "That's a jetpack," said Jack. "I've seen pictures of future astronauts flying with those. It's like a mini spaceship, right?" The moon man didn't answer. "I don't think he can hear us," said Annie. "He's not hooked up to our radio." "Oh, right," said Jack. "I'll write him a message." Good idea. Jack pulled out his notebook and pencil. He wrote, "We're Jack and Annie. We come in peace from America. Who are you?" Jack handed the notebook and his pencil to the moon man. They looked tiny in his big hands. The moon man looked down at the message. He looked at the tiny pencil. Then he turned the notebook over. Jack and Annie watched as the moon man put the pencil on the paper. He was writing something very carefully. Finally, he gave the notebook back to Jack. Jack and Annie stared at the marks. "Stars," said Annie. "He drew stars." "Maybe it's a space map," said Jack. "Space map? Hey, Jack! Map! Map starts with M." "Oh, wow," said Jack. "Maybe this is the 4th M thing. Let's ask him what this map means." She turned around. "We'll never know now." "Why?" Jack looked up from his map. "That's why," Annie pointed. The moon man was flying over the mountains. He was gone. "Thanks," cried Annie. The next chapter is called One Star to Another. I guess we'll have to find out next time. We're about to start chapter 8, and there are 10 chapters in Magic Treehouse number 8. So that means that we have Chapter 8, Chapter 9, Chapter 10. Only 3 more chapters because we've already read 7. Okay, first grade, we'll find out what happens next time. Thanks for reading with me.